Now Allison's video is gone. Why is your video gone? Hello. Yeah, but for some reason I'm not seeing it here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is this is a special. I'm gonna share the thing right now. I don't know why it didn't let me do that with you before, but I mean, I did, but for whatever reason, it wasn't working. Um, no, I see the video in here, but I don't see it on my OBS. It's like the link doesn't work or something.
The explanation is that we are doing something completely new. We're attempting to do a live stream while in a Twitter space. So it's going to be a little bit chaotic. Bear with us. A little bit of a roller coaster ride. I don't think anybody has ever attempted this. Or if they have, they've had more of a, like a team of technicians behind them than us. So we're just doing it. We're just strapping ourselves to like a TNT under a
Yeah.
garbage pan.
But we are live, and it does appear to be working. So I think we're good. Let me just hopefully when the time comes, somebody says Allison is muted in the space. Yes, she is on purpose. Because
go to the
allow me to explain, okay? She is in two places at once on the internet. She's in a chat with me for the video purpose that you guys can see her, but she is also in an X space. And for whatever reason, X spaces are in a lot of ways in the Bronze Age because there's so much you can't do. And I don't know if Musk and his team have understood that, like, there are brand new websites that are light years ahead in terms of doing this than X is. I know that X wasn't meant for this, but if you want to make it into a multimedia platform, you're gonna have to like step it up, guys. Like the idea that I can set up an X space on my computer, but I can't actually access it unless I have an iOS device, which is retarded because fuck Apple. And then after that, I have to make sure that I can be in multiple, like, that my Video Ninja and the X Space aren't fighting for resources like, the border of Ukraine while, because Video Ninja wants to use your microphone and camera and X wants to use your microphone. And it's like, are they going to play nice or, is there going to be an invasion of Poland? So, but, so far it's fine. But Allison can't speak in the X space right now because if she does, because she doesn't wear headphones,
it'll be auditory hell.
Yeah, everybody else's voice is going to show up. It's going to be echoes like crazy, and our completely spurgy chat is going to lose their minds, and they're going to have to be sent to an asylum so that they don't go crazy from how off the sound is. So
it'll probably be considered some kind of
the autists. I'm sorry.
They'll just explode, and we'll be like some kind of horrible.
They just can't. They can't.
We'll be blamed for being part of a unself-aliving cult or something, and then they killed all their audience.
So anyway,
through auditory terrorism. Oh God, I just got our stream of this.
All right, yeah, whatever. Did you? We don't monetize anything, and I don't know that there is any amount of careful word picking that's going to stop us from being, somewhat pushed back. I mean, we've been doing this for 10 years and, we remain relatively humble in our size. So it doesn't matter because the words are getting out. So you can't really do anything about it,
Yeah, I can't. Well, you really can't, but you just keep plugging on. We're low to the ground like the honey badger.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to make us submit because we're like the honey badger. Okay, we got a low center.
Are you guys getting an echo, or are you just because from what I can see, everything looks good on my end here. So, and those of you guys who are in the space with us, it's a link to the space in the description of this video, by the way. Those of you who are in the space with us, give me a thumbs up if I sound okay to you guys. And a thumbs down if not. I don't know if there's thumbs down one of the reactions you guys can do. So I just want, it's just one of these guys right here. So Cookie Pepito gives a thumbs up. Okay, so let's see. Miss 0303 says it's fine on Rumble.
Mm.
So we should be good. Okay. So how much are we just waiting for? Yeah. Are we good now? Did you get your headphones? Yes. Can you hear me? Oh, wait. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta add an audio output capture here. Let's say space because people can't hear you in OBS. So I gotta add this and figure out where your sound is at. So could you say, let me just check this. Could you say a few words so I can just see what the source is? Allison? Okay, D. All right. So
I'd
that's
like to take this
I
moment,
just wanted to
now
check
that I
that.
have a captive audience, to
Yes.
simply okay. If so we're good?
Yeah, it's good. It's working.
All right. So yeah, I guess it's work. It sounds like we've suddenly gone and we're suddenly using a two tin cans with string though.
Well, I guess you know what? Y'all just gonna have to fucking deal with it. I mean, I don't know what to
Yeah,
tell
I guess
you.
so. I
When
guess
I
you're
get
right.
to the point where I can have a fucking NASA style studio with perfect sound, until that moment comes, we're just gonna have to deal with what we have. So
Yeah, true enough.
sorry to be an asshole, but I can't. You know,
I just find it
I can't
I
turn
think it's
water
like
into
a
wine.
I think it's like
So
a I wasn't really commenting.
I
I wasn't
know.
expecting you to do it. I was just extending the conversation about X and the
Oh
X
yeah,
spaces. Yeah.
yeah.
It wasn't really aspersions on you. I'm just like, wow, suddenly we go from Video Ninja to X and everything sounds like it's underwater.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
It doesn't
Sorry
sound that
guys, I'm
bad
not
to
getting
me. So no, it doesn't sound that bad to me. So maybe the people who are watching,
yeah,
you
maybe it
guys
might also be my Bluetooth
tell me how
headset thing
awful
then.
this is in the chat, please. I love to hear it. Um,
Yeah, we
okay,
all
but
do.
anyway, so it's Galentine's Day. Valentine's Day is over. We're not talking about that anymore because that involves men. So this is Galentine's Day, which is a day dedicated to female friendships. Did you guys know that? And I thought because obviously incels are the worst people ever, I thought we would also take this time to acknowledge how awful they are while also praising Galentine's Day as the ultimate day. What was the thing that you sent me? Wasn't like a Twitter thing about that? Let me see if I can
Yeah,
find it.
there was a well, it was actually sent to me by Richard
Oh
in
yeah,
the
I see
not
it.
Richard Bier, another Richard in the patron chat. And it was it's okay. These are some of my overall thoughts. So we're now celebrating the fact that women are avoiding men, leaving a whole bunch of men who are not able to have relationships. So we're acknowledging that it's women causing incels now, are we? Because we're celebrating it?
Mm,
Like it's women's standards causing or women's intentions? I mean, it seems even worse. I mean, it's one thing to say, 666, and it's another thing to say, I'm being alone just to stick it to the incels. It's like it seems there's like a one is simply just, being a bit ridiculous about your life, and the other is just actually being actively hateful. You know what I mean? But if we
yeah.
are celebrating this, because this is the thing, it's like we're celebrating women being just in friendships with other women. Even though I have seen an uptick of articles in which women are actually complaining about their friendships with other women.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Specifically, they're complaining about being used in their friendships with other women or other women not putting out enough in their friendships with other women. So it's like as they stop having relationships with men, I mean the need to complain is eternal apparently. So now they're just complaining about what they have left, which is relationships with women. But what my overall point is, if we are celebrating Galentine's Day as women doing it for themselves, making men single because reasons, this constant drumbeat of resentment and supposed fairness, then can we acknowledge that women are the reason why incels are single, not incels?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sure. Um, you know what the funny thing about Galentine's Day is, Allison?
What?
This is like the thing with every feminist cope buzzword, okay, or term or trend or whatever that they make up, right? Like mansplaining, manspreading, you know, what was the last thing? It was like manufacturing. It has the word man in it. So, you know, but you know what's funny is Galentine's Day was literally a from an episode of a TV show called Parks and Recreation,
Mm-hmm.
where the main character, I guess, Leslie Knope, played by Amy Poehler, she is trying really hard to be like a feminist icon. And at that time, they would still like kind of make fun of that, like that overreaching. And she created this thing called Galentine's Day, which was basically about like girls hanging out and being friends and whatnot. And of course, I believe in the episode, it was just a means to cope with the fact that she was lonely and
Mm.
wanted all of the other girls in her life who had boyfriends and husbands or whatever to be alone with her. And that was the joke. And they're trying to make it real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is like the cope taking on life. And I
Mm-hmm.
just personally, I think it's just funny, also a bit sad. And but I mean, of course, Cosmo would put this out. This was an article, I believe this is from Cosmopolitan. I'm pretty sure these people are CIA funded. And it's called Your Everything to Know Guide to Celebrating Galentine's Day in 2025. No, there isn't anything better than showering all your friends with love.
Mm.
This to me is sadder than any man who just happens to find himself alone on Valentine's Day. I think that
Mm.
most people are just like, well, it's a bullshit holiday anyway. Like my wife was like, yeah, Valentine's Day is gay. But
Mm.
if you are someone who thinks that, you know, maybe there are opportunities for us to counter blessings and show some, you know, love for people in our life that we care about, that's fine. But Galentine's Day as a concept is just cope.
Yeah.
It's a sad cope. That's all it is. So,
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. It
I mean, to
and
me, I don't mean to shoot it down. We could read the article, but I just from at the front, that's what I think.
well, that what was originally a cope, and now it's being celebrated as something
No, it was a
to be
joke, and now it's a
celebrated. Yeah,
cope.
oh,
It was
yeah, it
literally a
was a
joke, a
joke, and now it's a
punchline.
cope.
Yeah, now it's a cope. Well, but wait though, wait
From
though. It
joke to
does.
cope.
They have a point. It's kind of like the Bechtel
Maybe
test.
that's what we should have
It's the
called this.
same.
Maybe
Hmm?
that's what we should have called the video. From joke to cope.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. We could change the name.
Yeah.
Um.
No, it's just unnecessary. Although
Okay.
we do have somebody saying that the sound is bad, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Art for Z. But it's not much we can do about it. Not unless we just stop the
What do you mean?
idea that we
6 out
had.
of 10 awful sounds like an early 2000s voice call.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think he
That
might just
well, we
be.
can
He's
roll with
being
that.
sarcastic. So
Sarcoustic.
yeah.
Acoustic.
Valentine's Day bullshit is designed to sell overpriced dead plants. Yeah, I mean, if you can get chocolates, get real ones from a local person. Don't buy that bullshit online or at the, you know, fucking
Okay, I'm just
Costco.
gonna I'm gonna spurg on this a bit. Did you see what I said there? Sar acoustic. It's like a lot of
Yeah,
our chat is Sar acoustic.
SAR acoustic. Yeah, sarcastic about the sound. Yeah. Um, I kind of
Okay.
said that, but I didn't mean to, so I'm not going to take credit for it. But it was still clever,
Yes, it was.
unintentionally genius.
Well, you said
So
sarcoustic, and I was like, oh wait,
sarcastic. Yeah,
there's a step further that we could go.
you could. Yeah,
Let's
you
do
did
it.
add a syllable.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Probably
so
not a good idea, but
what do you really want to talk about since we made a space out of it? What do you really want? Because there are people hanging around in here, and now we can get them to say a few words if we want, unless
oh
they don't want
well,
to be put on the spot. Anonymous, say something. I'm kidding.
no.
Um,
Well, let's go through that article that you sent me, the
yeah,
Galvantines.
Galentine's. It's called Galentine's Day. Okay.
Galvantine. Yeah,
Gal as in gals, as in
Galvin.
girls. Gal
Gal.
Galentines. Get it? It's the thing, you know, you take two
Calvin.
words and you make them into one word and then you
Calvantines.
pretend like you just added to the vocabulary when you've actually just
Calvin.
lowered everybody's IQ. So, all right,
Calvin. Yeah. Okay.
stop it. Your everything to know guide to celebrating Galentine's Day in 2025. No, there isn't anything better than showering all your friends with love. And here are a bunch of sad single women getting drunk to essentially drown their tears. Ahem, your attention, please. In case you haven't heard, the most magical day of the year is upon us, a day fully devoted to celebrating love in its purest form. No, we're not talking about Valentine's Day, but Galentine's Day. What is Galentine's Day, you ask? So glad you did. Falling each year on February 13th. So that was actually yesterday. I forgot about that, but whatever. The day before Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day is basically the friendship version of V-Day. It's an unofficially official holiday that's all about celebrating platonic love between all your friends in your life. So nope, it's not just for the girlies. Yeah, you know what's funny about this is that I just realized something. When women are friends with other women, it's just friendship. When men are friends with other men, there's something gay happening. Have you noticed that? Have you raised your hand if you noticed that? Have you noticed that when male relationships with other men are part of the conversation, there must be some kind of homoerotic undertones going on, and I mean like all the time. I think this is a something that's come out of fan fiction, and like that whole fan fiction mentality, which is basically overweight, blue-haired Tumblr people that are writing stories and they're making people gay in them. They love doing that to men. They love it. Okay, but I just noticed that. That's just I'm just putting it out there. No men can't be friends. Like Frodo and Sam, they're gay. Jon Snow and Sam from Game of Thrones, gay for each other, totally gay. Fucking, Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, gay. I mean, this is what they do. I'm just saying. Ken and Ryu from Street Fighter, gay. All right. Anyway, yeah, Brian says 100%. Absolutely. No, they do that, Allison. They do.
No, I do because I did it. And
yeah,
I
bet you did.
I was a slash fiction writer. It's just that generally we just keep to ourselves and didn't say, at least back in the day, we were just like, yeah, we're doing this. But you know what? It's just our weird little corner of the internet. And now it's like Tumblr exploded everywhere. And it's no good. It's not good.
Yeah.
That's not what I ever wanted to see happen.
Well, I don't know that it started there, but what I'm saying is I think there's always been a strange nudging to basically abnormalize normal friendships between men. To basically make them and queer them up.
Women too, but
yeah.
Yeah, so but let's continue because I don't think they're really talking about male friendships.
No, but they did say it's not just for the girls. That's why I had to stop there because
bone, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, so of everybody a bone.
I know they say so nope, it's not just for the girlies, but they're really, I mean, it's called Galentine's Day. Like, best of all, you can celebrate it in any way you please. While your V-Day plans are often beholden to certain date night scripts, though, just for your information, you have plenty of options for more creative plans, but beyond just a fancy dinner reservation. Galentine's Day is pretty much a free-for-all. Host a glamorous dinner party, go out for brunch, have the girlies over for a chill wine and cheese night, exchange gifts, throw a girls-only rager, the hell is that, book a spa day, etc., etc. However you like to toast to the besties and other non-romantic loves in your life, this is the day to do it.
Okay, so they say this is for men too, and then they immediately throw out the caltrops.
What kind of men go to spa dates and wine and cheese nights? Like, what about the ball game? Oh no, that's not a thing. Girls don't do that. I don't know. I feel like
I think it's just for a specific type of woman, really.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, a single 30-something post-wall thing. Dog mom or cat mom. That I mean, they have their. I mean, look. When you are alone, for a lot of people, maybe not everybody, but for a lot of people, Valentine's Day can feel, like bad. Like February is the month with the highest rates of suicide. And I think it's because of a number of reasons. One, the weather, because it's usually the coldest month. There's the and Valentine's Day, whatever, taxes. Like I don't know. So, but it is the month where that happens the most. And so I would guess that if you're feeling low, Valentine's Day could make you feel lower. Even though it's just a day that we've sort of maybe arbitrarily named Valentine's
Mm.
Day. But I do think it has an effect on people too. So uh
Let me
let me
see if I
see.
can fix the
Yeah.
sound.
It's not,
Just
is it that bad? Are people saying it's bad? Doesn't sound bad to me.
the sound. Is this any better?
Could you say something?
I am saying
What?
something right now.
Oh, okay.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
All right.
All
So I
right.
just switched over to my Shure microphone instead. It's still going through my Bluetooth, but yeah, hopefully this will be a bit better for people.
You
Okay. So,
don't
yeah, want
okay.
to finish and then go to the Twitter persons?
Yeah, sure. All right. And while, yes, you can obviously shower your favorite people with love every damn day of the year, it never hurts to have an excuse to indulge in a little something extra special, you know? So consider this your friendly reminder that regardless of your current romantic sitch, we all have plenty to celebrate this time of year. And to make your G Day planning as easily as possible, oh, the ad comes. Here's our Galentine's Day gift to you, this comprehensive guide to every single thing you need to know about this very special day, from what Galentine's Day is to how to
What?
celebrate it to top-notch gifts
What?
and the very best G-Day fits.
No!
Here's how to make the most of this February 13th. Happy G-Day,
No!
baby. And it ends with be a consumer, which women are really good at. So, so there you go.
No!
What do you mean, no?
I mean, no, this is ridiculous. No. And first of all, who has to plan all this and pay for it? Who has to do the emotional labor in the relationship if you're in a relationship with two women? I mean, I don't think that you're going to
Oh,
get
that's
the
a
same
tough one.
feeling,
That's
right?
a tough one. They're going to be like that. This is the reason why the lesbian domestic violence stats are so high. Right? it's
Yeah,
a
who does
it's
the
a
emotional labor? Who gets to take credit for doing the emotional labor, you know? Who gets to take credit for being the valued, the most valued one in the relationship, which is really what they mean by emotional labor. They
hmm
mean I am the one who should be valued more than the other person in the relationship. Um but
Yeah.
yeah, so my time is more valuable, my effort is more valuable, my desire to think is more valuable, my micromanaging of everything of your life, that's not control, that's not abuse of control, it's actually emotional labor.
Emotional labor.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh, so that's the end of the
Is
article. That's
that's the
actually
oh, so
not.
they just
Yeah, it ends with them saying, "Why don't you go over here to this other link and buy some stuff?" It's an ad.
of course. It's an
Yeah,
ad. It was an
it's
ad all
Cosmo.
along.
Have you ever seen a Cosmo magazine? It's like mostly ads. I think there's like maybe a good 5 pages of anything written, and even those aren't worth much. But it doesn't
Yeah.
matter because like we could say all of that about Cosmopolitan or about the fact that it's an ad, but the fact is they're in business and they make millions of dollars, and women read
Mhm.
those websites and they go to those websites. So it does have an effect on the culture if I'm being
Indeed.
serious. So it's not a joke. I mean, they're a joke, but the effect is not a joke.
And that
So,
was a joke that became a cope.
yeah, it was a joke that turned into a cope, and yeah, that's right. Anyway, should
All
we
right.
take any comments from the peanut gallery in here?
Oh,
I
I
have a
don't know where
request.
comments go.
I
Somebody
can, no,
has
no, I mean
requested to
like
speak.
people, that's what I'm talking about. InQcell has requested to speak, so I'm going to invite him to speak. You should have, I just invited you or something. You should be able to talk now. Can you? Or
Hello, can you hear me?
yes,
Yeah, we can hear
hello.
you.
All right, great. Uh, any specific topic you want me to talk about, or can I
You
just?
can say whatever you want. It's Valentine's Day.
Right.
Go
Happy
ahead.
Valentine's Day. So,
Yeah, the
Yeah,
yeah.
be
Happy
heard.
Valentine's Day. The thing that I'm, well, it's not the first time people have thought about it. The concept of specifically women becoming this sort of childless, friendship. No, not necessarily friendshipless, but relationshipless demographic, wherein, well, what's the report? What's the number? 50% of them. 50% of all women are going to be like single by the year 2030 or 2040, right?
Yeah.
And this analysis is being done from the perspective of market trend analysis, right? This is like the corporate megaliths are, watching demographic trends and are determining women are going to be this emerging market wherein you basically sell these copes, right? They are going to become a large market, or market is going to be shifting towards selling women, postmenopausal women that have no chance at a family, and these copes, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be it offering them like these kind of jobs wherein they write these millennial writing voice nonsense articles that are really just ads, becomes like a sales job in itself, right? Like the economy is going to contort itself into really weird simulacric derivations of itself, of a non-productive activity, right? The more of a layer of an indirection the economy is going to take itself, the root it's going to become more of this sort of mollifying and shaping consumption patterns of these women to just basically to have them cope with unsuccessful lives. Like, the more it's going to get away from productive activity, right? And in the meantime, it is not to become some kind of third world, USA lib or something like that. But the productive activity is basically going to get offshore. Well, it is. It currently is. The productive activity is mostly outshore to the third world, to Africa or whatever is happening in India. I still cannot imagine that many people, that populational density. Like, what are they doing there all day? It's imaginable to me. But over in the West, the economy is all like gearing itself towards becoming just this, just perpetually selling copes to its own unsatisfied population. Most of which most of consumption activity is generated by women, while men like me are going to be just slowly taxed through inflation. I guess that's the plan. Just have the incels, have every man become an incel that's playing video games all day, slowly siphon wealth away from them through inflation and sell shit to women. I mean, is that it's obviously not sustainable, but it's quite the whimper of a civilization.
Yeah.
Well, I
Well,
think the people making babies are going to weather this storm, and but we'll see. I mean, but yeah, I mean, you're right. This is what we've been talking about for years, and but we'll see what happens. I don't know.
it does seem like it's well, fundamentally it's not a sustainable system, and it basically is just a symptom of the incentive structure between men and women being broken down, and people celebrating destruction. It's like, it's so funny because again, I'll go back to that Eric the Red, the sinking of High Brazil, and them doing the Tea
Yeah.
Tums Festival, celebrating the sinking of High Brazil, while denying that it's happening. Because you can only celebrate the sinking of High Brazil if you tell people that it's happening in a way that's negative, then you're a Nazi. If you
Mm-hmm.
criticize the sinking of High Brazil, you're a Nazi. So you can only celebrate the sinking of High Brazil. Of course, it's sinking, but if you celebrate it, that's the good approach to have towards the sinking of High Brazil. The instant you mention it in any other context, then you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. It's like, yeah, what can you say? It's fundamentally it's all broken. I think that it's deeper than women sticking it to men. It is I don't know. I don't think it's a civilization that's no longer inspired by itself, I think. And
Hmm.
it doesn't really have a goal or a sense of the future. I mean, there is still pockets of it, but I think that overall it's breaking down in the general gestalt. And the question is, how do we revive that? How do we get people back in love with the idea of a future? And
Yeah.
That is a question that I wake up and I think about, and then I think about it some more, and I have no I right now I cannot articulate an answer. It's not that necessarily I don't think there is one, but I'm not sure I've really have the words yet to articulate an answer to that, because I think really what's happening with women is they completely lack meaning in their life, and they're replacing it with frivolities, and they don't know what else to do. Just
Yeah.
pleasures. Okay.
All right. Well, InQcell, do you want to say anything else?
No, you can let someone else speak.
All right. Thank you. That was, thanks for the input. Brian, I just gave you speaker privileges. You asked to talk. So what's on your mind, my friend? And happy Valentine's.
Happy Valentine's to you guys too. You
Mm.
guys hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yep.
sounds good.
Okay, okay. First off, I'm a big fan of your show. I watch it all the time.
Ah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Uh, one one thing that my friend always says when it comes to Valentine's Day, and I remember this because, for those that don't know, I'm 26. So when I was in school, one of the things that he said was the only good thing about Valentine's Day is everything is half off the day after.
That
You can get a
is
lot
pretty good.
of very cheap chocolate.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I
yeah.
wouldn't eat it, but yeah.
I wouldn't
Um,
either, but yeah. Yeah, it's funny because you talked about having the purpose of having a future, and a lot of people, especially because I grew up in a traditional household, so we're talking Christian household, so nuclear family kind of thing. Even though that I didn't technically have a nuclear family because my father had died when I was young, but from my grandparents, they've been together for 50 plus years, and
Mm.
I always ask my grandmother, how the hell did you not kill him yet? That's because my grandfather's a very difficult person.
mhm.
And and when I say difficult, I mean really, really difficult. Like you have to have a high amount of patience to be with somebody like him. You just do.
Mm.
And she said one of the things that she told me was know when to shut up. And she's like, your
Yeah.
she's like
What?
your
Wait. Who said this?
my grandmother.
She said to a piece of advice in dealing with your grandfather was to know when to shut up.
Yeah.
Based. Okay,
Tell
go
him to be
Mm.
ahead.
quiet. Yeah. Well, she didn't just say that with my grandfather. She said that about marriage, period.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
she's,
Wow,
yeah.
your grandma is that is a font of wisdom right there. I'm
Well,
sorry.
yeah, it
Uh,
is. Because, I mean, granted, she's been married for like 55 plus years. And,
well,
I mean,
eventually they learn.
yeah,
Sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
yeah.
I love my mother and my grandma.
So do I. And, one of the things that, like Allison mentioned was, about having a future and continuing your legacy, like having a purpose to your life. And obviously, I've watched Allison just go apeshit on these feminists and these rad
Yeah,
femmes that hate men, and and I had a conversation with my buddy the other day where we just talked about um, dating. We basically talk about your show all the time because I tell him about it. Because I'll be
really?
like, oh yeah, like, I'll be like, oh, I was watching this. I talk about it all the time, and I usually bring up stuff that you guys talk about all the time on your show, whether it's Allison saying something about Manifestel, and oh, Manifestel has come up in our conversations quite a bit actually, and stuff, and he was saying how like the getting men and women to actually, I don't know, not hate each other, you know, and like, cause you have
To
on
work
both sides,
together, to come
yeah,
together. Yeah, sure.
yeah, exactly, because on both sides of the coin you have men that hate women and women that hate men, and whatever reason it is, they're both. You can make the point that both groups of men and groups of women that are like this are bitter for some reason, You know, either they've had terrible relationships and so they paint all men as evil or all women as evil. Either way, it's a terrible way of thinking, obviously. But the one thing is when, because I'm the type of guy that'll be like Allison, where I'll just point out dumb shit and I'll get called out for it, usually by women more often than not, and be like, oh, you're just, you're just bitter and you're terrible. Well, maybe if men did this, then women wouldn't be this way, or, some other type of anti accountability type thing. And it's like, yeah, we all have our own roles to play in this, I guess.
Yeah.
But, my whole thing is like, well, maybe if you took a look in the effing mirror and, lowered your expectations a bit, and I don't know, contributed something to the relationship, you wouldn't be so miserable. Like, I mean, come
Yeah.
on. Come
Well,
on. Like,
the thing is that what I've noticed with a lot of women, I was arguing with a feminist recently, and she was talking about how men have failed. Men use porn, men use OnlyFans, men have failed, men this, men that. And she said, this is why women have to lead. And women have to lead. And I said, well, if you had led, men wouldn't be failing. You see how that turns around, like the mentality of that? Because
exactly.
when we say, well, women are failing, for example, traditionalists say women are failing this, women are failing that, it's because men aren't leading. Well, if the people you expect to be led by you are failing, that's your fault. And she did not understand what I was saying. She
I
kept
think I
going
remember
back
that
to,
exchange too.
yeah, I'm actually thinking of doing a little my adventures on the platform formerly known as Twitter video on that,
You should
because
do it.
she could not comprehend what no, when you're a leader, by definition, you're not a leader unless there are people following you. And if there are people aren't following you, you're not a leader. So because she was presenting this idea that women could be leaders without men following them. Well, no, because men are not following you. And the other thing is I think we got into it a bit that men have led women throughout the past. Well, the thing is that what I hear from feminist rhetoric is that men lead women almost automatically. Like even today, men are the ones who are making the decisions about women's thoughts, about what they put in their mouths, about how they dress, about what work they do. If a man calls something a manufacturing, that is so absolutely destructive to the female ego that she can't even possibly get anywhere close to it. So it's almost like it's men are natural leaders of women. If you're going to propose this idea that men lead or men make the decisions for women in every circumstance you could possibly imagine, as long as it's negative, but if men are making these decisions and women are essentially thinking the thoughts that men decide to have them think, they're taking the actions that men decide to have them take, they're wearing the clothes that men decide for them, they're basically saying that men lead, and they lead in a way that is so fundamental that it becomes itself almost like a feature of being a man, is that whatever you do, you're leading women. You know what I mean? And that comes
Yeah.
directly out of their own rhetoric, because they're constantly saying, oh, it's men's thoughts making women do things. Well, how how can you not see that means that men have the ability to lead women in a way that women do not have the ability to lead men? Like that's what they're constructing. They're constructing this entire vision of men as the most fundamental leaders. They might as well be a fundamental force of physics, that they lead so completely. They lead women so completely in feminist rhetoric. And she was boggling at that too. Like she didn't understand what I was saying. So she just kept verbing. Like she just kept doing men verb, men verb, men verb. And it's like you'll notice if you step back and watch these people, their entire solution is that men have to do something. That's it. They can never take the responsibility for themselves. Women should lead, but if they were leading, men would be following, right? They can't take responsibility for that. No, women need to lead, but it still needs to be an action by men that women are leading. Do you get it? And that's like, no, that's not the way leadership works. That's not
Yep.
how it works. It's not how agency works when it comes to leadership. If you're a leader and people aren't following you, you're not a leader. And you can't create a situation where men are taking the action of leadership, but women are the leaders. It's so it's definitely like hitting your head against a brick wall because the mentality is so primitive. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
All right.
and anyway, and it's so
Brian.
fundamental and misunderstands agency.
Yeah.
Okay. We
Brian,
have something.
Botch TV, did you want to say anything else before I move on to the next person? And you can stay here if you want. Maybe this will turn into like a back and
Yeah,
forth or something, but
yeah. I don't like the one thing I did want to mention to Allison's point is the fact that women feel like they don't need to do anything. Per se. It's always men, men this, men that, men have to do this, men have to do that. I watched your guys' stream. It was on the woman that was, I guess, said that she was sex trafficked and
yeah.
that essentially she was doing things, offering men to literally sit down and talk to her,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily engage in any sexual activity
Right.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my friend about that today, and I said, you know how sad that is?
A lot of
Like,
guys, you'd be surprised at the number of men who pay prostitutes to just talk to them.
well, yeah, and I mean,
I don't know that there's data out there, but if we
I'm pretty
learned that it
sure
was
there
like
is
a
if you really looked
significant,
into it.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure that there is. I'm sure that there's something that because I mean, ultimately, well, I don't want to talk over you, but go ahead and finish your point. It is what were you going to say about this person who was sex trafficked?
Well, yeah, I think, first of all, I'm thinking nobody's putting a gun to your head forcing you to do this, which
Well, I
is
don't know if she was. Yeah, I mean, she had a very strange perspective on it. But I mean, somebody
right.
like that, I don't know that I would find them to be a reliable narrator
I
because she's
don't think
probably
so
got
either.
her own trauma. Obviously, she's got trauma she's dealing with if she was like covered in tattoos and supposedly
Right,
sex trafficked and had
right,
pimps and
yeah,
stuff and probably substance problems as well. So I'm not saying this disqualifies them. But I think
no,
that like I'm not necessarily gonna call them up to find out what their philosophical position is on gender relations between men
right,
and women.
right, exactly,
So
yeah,
yeah, she just needs to get help.
get help,
And
please.
yeah, stop it, get some help.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
It's
no shade. Like I said, I
no
hope that
shade,
she
no.
heals. I hope that she heals and all that. But I get what you're saying because even as someone who was trying to express some compassion or understanding for the men that she worked with or worked around, and she saw that most of the men she was working with were themselves damaged. I mean, you must be, right? Because I've never, ever, ever approached a prostitute in my life. And I'm not saying you have to be like a broken person to need to do that. But I
You
would
don't.
imagine that if you get regulars, it's kind of like, I know a guy, I co-host a show with him on my channel. His name is John, and he used to work in a adult bookstore, like a sex shop. And he talked about like the kind of people that would go in there. They weren't normal people. Like they had problems most of the time,
Yeah,
and it might have been either the porn was the cause or it's just a symptom. I'm more inclined to believe it's a symptom of something else, but I would guess that that's not like the sample size of people that you want to be like extracting data from because I think that they exist on the fringes. It's kind of like let's conduct a survey of like I don't know trans men on like the experiences of men and then use that as data. It's just not the same. You're going to get a very different set of experiences.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, and like to Allison's point that she made in that, I think she made point to the effect of well, you're kind of emotionally manipulating men because you're getting them to be vulnerable with you, yet taking money from them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's
Oh, you're
like,
talking about that argument that I got into, a little
yeah,
argument.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
somebody on the channel said that was upset because let me bring it up. I can talk about that. Just a
Oh, that's
minute.
right. It was in the chat, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't in this. It wasn't in the chat. It was just okay. So Heavenly Sky, publicly subscribed 1 year, says 1 hour, 2 minutes, 33 seconds in. Whoa, you're saying that she was exploiting men while she was being sex trafficked? Dude, I'm not about that believe all women sheet, but think about what you're implying here, Allison. By gods, you have such a chip on your shoulder. All of your arguments are so hollow and surface level after all my years listening to Karen and Mike. Sorry, hun, but you're not why I come to these discussions. Interesting that you're on this channel then.
Why would they be subbed then? That doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
So I responded, she already said herself that she felt ashamed of exploiting other women who were in relationships with the men she was having sex with. So it's sort of exploitation by proxy, but in a way it is. Why exactly? Because she's essentially allowing these men to cheat on them, but also in a way to avoid dealing with their relationship as it is. Why? And I respond, why exactly can't we talk about exploiting the men as well? What's the block here? And then another comment, I just realized why we can't. Because you think the men who went to her in a state of emotional vulnerability, and she explicitly says didn't know she was trafficked. Also, we don't know if she was trafficked the entire time either.
Well, we don't
Are
really
somehow,
know her definition of trafficked.
yeah, we
That
don't
you
even
know,
know that.
I'm not. I don't want to spur out on that, but like again, we have to
Yeah,
take her at her word,
yeah.
and so
We don't know she was trafficked, or and she explicitly says that some of these men did not know she was trafficked. Are somehow to blame for the trafficking as well because they share a gender with the men. If it was men, this is unclear who did it. Because she could also have been trafficked by women. But here's the thing, if this was a situation, and it sounded like she had some autonomy, so I don't know if she was talking about a part of her experience as a prostitute in which she wasn't being trafficked or she wasn't being kidnapped and held against her will, um, you know, or what was going on there, but it sounded like she was expressing a certain amount of autonomy over the situation that she was talking about. And I pointed out, and she also was concerned about the women that was affecting. Well, what about the men? Like, do we talk about that? And the other thing is that if she does believe that, or if she does feel that on some level, if she doesn't resolve it, she's always going to live with it. So it's like, I don't see why that's a problem to talk about that, in this circumstance. And then Heavenly Sky says, I'm at work. We're discussing this. We'll get back to you once I'm off duty. Never got back to me. I also invited him or her to discuss that original little thing that she said. He or she said, "My God, you have such a chip on your shoulder," etc. But yeah, it's like I know what it is. It is this discomfort with recognize if a woman is a victim, she becomes completely untouchable. It's like she
Immune.
gains some invulnerability shield. It's like, no, even if you're a victim, you can still victimize others.
yeah,
And you can, and even as a victim, as somebody who's searching for some kind of solace, that might be some way that's preventing her. That's why I brought it up. I said, if you are looking for solace over what the behavior you engaged in when you were in this community that was people exploiting people, and you also recognize that you exploited people, you might find that you take it a step further, recognize that in a way you were exploiting the men as well, and perhaps that might be a way to find solace, forgive yourself eventually, because there's nothing you can do, you can't change what happened, but you can recognize the harm you've done, and in recognizing it, make a commitment not to do it again, or not to hold those people as the villain in your narrative, like give them the respect of as also being a vulnerable and exploited people, you know, and then forgive, forgive yourself and move on. I mean, because like I said, it's not about beating yourself up for the rest of your life. It's just about recognizing the harms that you've done, committing not to do it again, not framing the people who you harmed as the villain in order to evade responsibility, and then just recognizing that you are once again just another flawed human being attempting to try to be better, right?
Mhm.
This is something that sort of, I know this is a digression. Do you guys okay with a digression? But it's
I think
something
we've
that
already
occurs.
been doing that, but go ahead.
Okay, so this
Yeah,
is a
go ahead.
digression of a digression. Um, well, it's something that occurs to me when I was talking to or just watching Natty, right? Um, and it's just this, and she talks about Christianity, and she talks about yes, I'm bringing it up again, but that's because a lot of people talk about this stuff now in the circles that we're in. And she talks about it, and she talks about how men blaming Eve was the sin. Like this was like the cardinal sin in her mind. So now women cannot be blamed for anything. And I think it's that
Well, yeah,
that
it's your get out of jail free card. Well, look,
yeah.
according to this book, it's not my fault.
But it occurred to me while I was listening to this, because
She's rules lawyering life.
yeah, she's rules lying Christianity. But it occurred to me that, you don't go to, I presume you don't go to Jesus with your victimhood. You go with your sins, right? You
Mhm.
go with a recognition that you're sinful and that you have done things that are not good, or that ultimately we're all in this kind of this state, and I don't even want to say it's a fallen state. It's a state of moral humbleness, that we should be morally humble. And I'm only saying this because she says she's a Christian, but it seems like she's got a lot of arrogance because she's presuming to be a Christian, presuming to be take part in a faith where you apparently, this is my lay interpretation, you are supposed to go to that faith with moral humbleness and a recognition of your own sin, not your victimhood. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. And I don't
yeah.
see that humbleness. I don't see that recognition of her own sin. And anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And it just occurred to me with that's a little bit like, you're sighing, Brian. What am I doing?
No,
I'm
no,
just going on.
I'm not. No, it's not about that. I'm just. It's annoying because I think that kind of behavior pushes men away
Yes.
from the church, and I think that a lot of men are entering the church in like record numbers because they're looking for meaning, but they're not going there just so somebody else with a veil can wag their finger at them, because I don't think it's correct. But I also am not.
Mhm.
I don't count myself a theologian or an apologist or anything like that. I'm just saying that is not constructive, and I've ever since I started doing this, my only goal was ever to like essentially encourage good faith conversations about real serious things. And there's so much clout chasing, and like people are trying to build their brand online, and they double down because they don't have the humility to be able to say, you know what, I might not know what the fuck I'm talking about. And it's all becomes like a noisy distraction. So I'm just
Yes.
like, I mean,
Yeah, we're
ultimately,
supposed
I
to be.
don't think it's productive, but I also don't think it matters. I think that at this point, like, you know, I think men are making their voices heard. They are saying what they believe. They're being more and more like, I guess you could say, like giving less and less fucks about it. And I'm here for
Mm,
that. So, like, and I'm not sighing out of frustration. It's more like, well, you know what? Don't fucking care. Like, we're done. I don't really care, Margaret. That's basically the attitude. I don't
yeah.
really care, Margaret. And I'm
Yeah. Well,
glad,
just
because that's what it's almost like. It's funny too, because going back to what you were saying, like, what? Okay, so the thing about Adam's sin is not that he blamed Eve. It's not quite that. His sin is not that. His sin is not. Well, first of all, he listened to her over God, because what did God say in the garden? Just a real quick refresher, okay? He said, "Do not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil." Okay, he told them both not to do that, and then the serpent got Eve to do it, and then Eve got Adam to do it. So Adam should have said no and did not. And the thing is, a lot of people talk about what is like masculinity, and I think that you could, if it could be summed up in one thing, it's the ability to say no unapologetically despite potential consequences, i.e., being willing to establish boundaries without concern for people's like feelings about it. So if Adam had said no and you shouldn't have done it either, that would have been the right thing. But he said yes, and then when God came, he tried to pass the buck, which is to say he did not take responsibility for his part in that, not for her part, his part. And I think it's easy to see that as, oh, Adam's scapegoating Eve. That's not the sin. Because if Eve is responsible for something, then she's responsible for something, right? But what the problem is that he simped, because he's the first simp. He simped for her and said, oh, well, if you do it, I guess I can do it, which you're not supposed to do, because that is disrupts the, what you could say is the natural order, whether you agree with that or not. If you do, then you know that, you know, man has authority, God has authority over man, man has authority over woman, okay? But we have abandoned that in this like post-humanist, secular, egalitarian, liberal society. So we can't make I can't even make the statement like there's a hierarchy. But the thing that's weird about that is that even though we can't do that anymore, we can still like hold men accountable for not doing that. So we can still say, no, you should still be chivalrous. You should still protect women. You should still be responsible for their safety, their security, and their comfort, but you don't get any of the authority that comes with that. And that's where the chaos is at. So the Adam following Eve's instruction is an inversion of the hierarchy, which I don't care if people agree or disagree. I'm just saying that's the way I think it was meant to be laid out. But we're not living that way now. And so what we have now is kind of like a, you know, salad bar of like women saying, well, I want this stuff because I like when men do things for me, but I don't want them to have this stuff. So, you know, and that's just not a sustainable model. Of course, there are cultures and societies where they are doing that, you know, and those places are successful. You know, some people talk about, I saw like a photo of a woman in she was dressed very like, you know, like a maid, like she had like not like a maid that works for you, but more like a, you know, like a maiden, right? She had a handkerchief on her head, and she was wearing like an apron and a big dress, and she had like a basket. Like she was like a peasant girl. That's what she looked like. Okay. But it wasn't that. It was a woman who just is a woman that lived on a farm in, you know, in Eastern Europe somewhere. And people were like, feminists were commenting on that, saying this is what men say they want, but these women don't exist. But the thing is, they do. They just don't live in the West, you know. And so, like, what they're like in Hungary and shit. Like they're over there, right? But they are real. I mean, there are parts of the America where there are women like that. But you know, but the thing is that feminists want you to believe, and these like modern liberal women want you to believe that anything that you might want as a man, like whatever standards you might have, you're not allowed to have. And on top of that, you can't have it because, you know, they're going to tell you like it's the current year, that's all in the past. But the truth is that most people want to be loved, and they want to find love from someone. And there's lots of women. Hell, I was just at a wedding a couple weeks ago, a young, beautiful couple. And they didn't date. They didn't date before. They were like in their 20s. The girl, when she met him in church, she said, I'm going to marry that guy. And she just talked endlessly about how many kids she wants to have. And they're not ugly. They're, you know, very attractive, very young. And they got married, and they're probably working on babies like right now. And so it's real, like they're real, and it's not a pipe dream. But the thing is that these people want you to believe that it doesn't exist because they want you black-pilled, they want you nihilistic, and they want men and women to fear or hate each other, and that's what they push for. So, and I think, I mean, like, I think that it does have an effect. I think it affects women more. I think men tend to be like more, I don't know, better able to deal with it, and they're like, well, I'm just going to focus on my career, I'm going to focus on my work, or I'm going to do my thing, whatever it is, and not worry about that because it can be a distraction. I think that women constantly like, sort of like trying to give it to men on the internet or with blogs or whatever. I think it's all cope. I think they're hurting inside, but they don't know what else to do because they're trying to satisfy two things: what is realistic for them and also what satisfies their peers. And most of what we're dealing with is women aggressing against other women and tearing each other down. It's crabs in a bucket
Wow.
for women, and men are just collateral damage. That's to me anyway.
We've gone a lot of places.
Yeah, I know.
I
I think
just wanted to
somebody
pull
else
out
is
one
waiting to
thing.
talk, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to pull out one thing about everything you said. If women don't want men to lead, stop giving them responsibility. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
they're not going to do that. They can't. They're afraid.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like this when the Bible says men lead, it doesn't seem to be something like, it's not like, oh well, that's the way. It's almost like that's the only way women will allow it, because women won't stop giving men responsibility for everything. Like this is the thing. Every time I hear a feminist beak off about how, oh, my thoughts are the result of patriarchy, it's like, well, yeah, if you don't want men to lead, don't be giving them that much responsibility over your choices. Okay? Take responsibility or just be led. And it's almost like it's recognizing a dynamic that is really hard to shift, shall we say. Because supposedly the most liberated women on the planet can't get away from the idea that if anything gets done, a man has to do it. And if anyone has to take responsibility for something, it has to be a man. Most liberated, guys, most independent. And everything comes down to a man must do, and I'm not responsible because man. It's infuriating. All right.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to avoid like looking in the mirror. Pick up your own cross. All right, so easy. I can't pronounce it. Easy Galrod. Did you want to say something?
It's a scramble of my name.
Oh, I see.
Dragonslayer Master Rogue.
Oh, Master Rogue. What's up?
How's it going? Happy
Good.
Singles Awareness Day, everybody. But going on the getting people to what was it? Believe in hope again, or the future that I often said.
Yeah.
I was just watching a video. I think it was titled "Congratulations, You Have No Personality," where she was talking
Oh,
about how Gen Z's new thing was just shaming people for trying to do something with their life or have a passion or interest in anything.
that's like peak crabs in a bucket stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen it? I think it
What
was
is that?
posted
I
on
saw
Facebook.
that. Well, I saw something by Alexander Grace about that, but we've talked about this too, like where, well, it's like this idea that like people who go out of their way to perform they're usually pretty uninteresting people. Like they buy crazy outfits or they, color their hair a certain way or whatever. They do stuff to like get a lot of attention. It's usually because they don't have a lot to offer, like, and in terms of actual substance. And there's a lot of people like that are like unserious, is how I would describe it. I don't know if that's the same video that you're talking about, but I saw one by Alexander Grace about that.
Well, let me check the poster's name.
Yeah, I saw it on YouTube. So
Uh,
Debonair live stream says, am I in the right comment section? Yes, I think.
Yep. You're
I mean,
in
you're
the
in the
short bus comment
if
section.
you're the short bus comment section, so that might be, if it applies to you, no shame. I respect the disabled as much as everybody else. But welcome to the
You see
show,
what I did there?
Debonair.
The short
Yes.
stream, the short bus comment.
Yeah. Well, vertical, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, why do you guys do the vertical stuff?
The
How do I do it?
YouTube account's name is Doothy.
No, I don't know who that is.
Doothy.
I don't know who that is, unfortunately. So
Hey, whoever's eating their mic, stop.
what are your thoughts on that? That might be the only person who's unmuted is Easy Galrod. So
Okay.
what else? So what are your thoughts? What do you want to share with us besides that?
Well, that was it. And happy Singles Wednesday.
All right.
Uh,
Well,
you know,
happy
I have a
gal.
confession.
Yeah.
Hmm?
What is it?
I have a confession. I am not single, and this is the day that I met my husband.
Nice.
Oh wow, that's corny as shit.
Isn't it? Oh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
It was on
because it's
Valentine. Were
so
you at a
corny,
party or something?
what, me, a party? Fuck.
Oh, I don't
I'll just
know.
sit on the corner and hiss at people.
Where were you
That'll
at
be
the
my party.
in the library? Like where did you guys meet?
Oh, did we meet at a party? Oh, I thought you said,
Or
are we gonna throw a
was it
party?
at a Comic-Con? Like I'm just curious. Where did you
Actually,
meet?
we met online, not on a dating site, because they didn't really have them back then. We met on
Oh.
IRC.
Oh,
The
IRC.
old fags will know what I'm
I
talking
have
about.
no idea
IRC,
how.
yeah.
I know of that, but I don't know
Internet
how
relay
people meet
chat.
on that.
Yeah,
IRC.
you just download a client, you just go to the channel, you hang out, and I was my friends ditched me that day, so I went on IRC to hang out, and I went to channel Calgary, and I said, "Hey, is there anybody here?" And I ended up talking to some other guy for a while, and then just said goodbye because he was, yeah, he wasn't. I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't interested in the same things he was interested in. And then I went to Channel Calgary because I was at Channel Canada before then, and I said, "Hey, is anybody here from Calgary?" Or no, I saw someone say, "Hey, is anyone here from Calgary?" And I messaged them, and it turned out to be Jonathan, and we ended up getting married like 7 years later. Um, so yeah, that's I don't know how cool that story is. It's
No,
sometimes it
it's in.
worries
You
me
know
how.
what? It's weird, like how people meet online and it does not turn into a shit show. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I know
Well,
that I don't know how often these things work out where you meet somebody on IRC and then you end up
It's an
getting
early
married and
adopter
staying
of a
together. But
trend. Like currently,
um,
meeting online is how most of the relationships are formed. It's like 60 or
yet
70%.
yet only no, actually, it may be
yeah, but
the
I don't
way that
know how
most
many of those
people.
work out.
No, not all, very few, like only 1 out
Yeah,
of 10 relationships, and the thing is we didn't meet on, like, a dating site. There were dating sites back then, I'm pretty sure. We didn't meet on a dating site, we just met randomly on a general, like, site where people talk, and then we just decided to meet up in a bar and, hang out, and
Well,
that
this is
was.
something that scale is completely devastated, of course, because today, if you were talking to people of Calgary area, you would be talking to like at least 10,000 people at once, right? So this was only really possible in a time where access to internet itself was very prohibitive, both economically in terms of availability in a space in like in a country, and um, interest in this specifically IRC type chat, because it could be a thing that in like IRC you would go to a room and there's like 5 other people. Like currently analog to that would be 10,000 people in current year, right? So
yeah.
scale destroys a lot, and it's underappreciated that a lot of things do not scale.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm kind of like in the maybe we should consider just arranging marriages now because dating is we tried it. It's I don't know that it's a success. Maybe we should go back to just like setting people up as part of a business transaction. I don't know what you think about that, InQcell, but that's what we
Well,
did for most of history. So
it eventually something like that. Well, not necessarily arranged marriages on a map on a sort of society-wide scale. Like that's
no, but
probably
in the
still not
local
going to happen.
area, yeah,
But what's going to happen, I think, is like population crunch. Ultimately, the population is going to drop, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, because you see all these apocalyptic predictions. Oh, population by 2100, like 2100, in 70 years in the future, is going to, TFRs today are horrible. In 70 years, population is going to be the same as it was in 1960 or something. But you still got
hmm
countries in 1960, right? And with the like exponentially the massively many times increased productivity per capita, right? So it might be the case that maybe perhaps not intended, but this kind of overpopulation of the world is triggering some kind of, well, what's it called when a cell self-destructs? It's called something. Basically, internal genetically coded in population control, wherein when the size of the population and not much utility can be derived per capita, the population simply drops. So that might be, we're going some kind of event like that through currently, and it might be the case that like 2 generations from now on, things will be much better, and you will be closer to something like a fully automated luxury space communism. But that means not much for people currently eating shit and being heavily atomized in this kind of hyper real hellscape.
Hmm.
Can I just do a test? Is my sound better now? I don't know how my
On the space, it sounds
Bluetooth
doubled.
headphone could possibly be picking anything up because it's turned off. I could also do this maybe, but I
Yeah,
think
this is better.
we'll just.
You were coming in through twice, as if.
Oh,
Yeah, a
okay.
little bit.
That's
A
very
little bit.
strange.
Now it's
All right.
doing again. No.
Yeah, well, it's the reason why it's doing it for me is because I got multiple systems going on. My wires, I got lots of them all over the place. Lots of vols doing various things. Okay, and yeah. Aw, my neighbor's dog is out. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. Hopefully my sound is better.
I don't have a
Okay.
problem with it.
I hear you.
Yeah, does the echo gone? That's the question.
No, but that doesn't matter.
No, what the hell is going on here?
Now it's gone.
Okay.
Now it's back
gone.
up. I think the louder you are, something starts picking it up on a double, as if.
In that case, probably what I should do is turn up my gain and move back. Perhaps.
Does anyone else want to say anything? Start a fight? I don't know. Whatever. Crash out.
Well, I have
Start a
lots of things.
fight.
I just want to know. What was that, incel?
Yeah, video games. Most of the things I talk about as video games, and to some degree, they are an interesting proxy to the problem I was talking about with scale, right? The thing about video games, and I recently had a thought, like making stuff free, like having Unreal Engine, because if you watch, if you get any videos recommended to you by YouTube, you often have a chance of encountering the opinion, which is algorithmically, which is very popular, that Unreal Engine, grr Unreal Engine unoptimized, and it's YouTube opinion slop. It's videos that get 2 million views. It's sort of attractive to produce something like that, but it is the case that the technology has progressed so far, and yet the output is like dismal. It's like you cannot really explain to someone how bad like the video gaming industry is right now. It's like you went from Mustangs to selling horses that have 2 legs cut off and have graffiti painted on them. Like, imagine if that happened to a car industry on scale. Like, imagine Ford and GM and Toyota competing with each other in selling 3-legged horses, right? It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like completely indescribable what's happening, right? And I had the thought that it is particularly the result of scale, wherein these 3 things, these amazing tools, removed a sort of adaptation, a sort of creative restriction that prodded creativity. That it is like something like Iraq is getting terraformed for Fremen. Is the same thing, wherein how will the faithful be tested? You do not have these harsh conditions. You do not have these limitations that force you to distill essence of something and focus on things that make the thing, I guess. And a lot of that is happening outside of the video games, but video gaming industry is like struck the most by this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I guess I mean, I think the trip. I don't want to get too much into this thing, but I think the AAA industry is an unsustainable behemoth. But I think there are people doing smaller projects that are going to be enjoying a lot of success. But maybe I don't know anything about coding this stuff. I just like to play them, but I do think that there's a lot of people doing good stuff on the bottom level. So, and
Yeah, the interesting
maybe
doubt.
what needs to happen is that it needs to like become a niche thing again, as opposed to like a big mainstream
Yes, yeah, that's the
blob.
point of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
the mainstreamification of a lot of things is, if you create something for everyone, you created something for no one ultimately, and chasing these mass scale KPIs is, I mean, I guess for stuff like Fortnite and these like high cap games that are making money. I don't know. It is objectively
Yeah.
true that the amount of money that's circling, that's rotating in the industry has increased, obviously, compared to 1990s, or early 2000s. But another thing that I've been thinking about is that ultimately you are these games, these things, these ultimately copes that are being sold. And at one side, you can say that the market is increasing because you get more lonely men. To bring it back to this topic at hand, get more lonely men that you have copes to sell to. Even as you are selling copes to women, in terms of material shit, and cheese and wine or whatever. You sell copes to men, right? It seems that the copes for men are much more scalable in terms of video games. It's easy to sell a video game than it's to sell whatever it is they're selling to women. Mostly something material.
They're selling boxed wine and cats to women. So investing in pet care if you've got stocks. So pet care and boxed wine.
Okay. All right. So are we talking to Richard now, Brian, or?
Well, he asked to speak, so I put him on. He just started talking.
Okay.
But that's cool. If anybody else wants to say
Sorry.
anything, no, you're
okay.
fine.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Okay. I had plans for Valentine's Day this morning, so.
Oh yeah,
That's
right.
okay.
You were seeing somebody.
Yeah. So
How did that go?
it was okay. We've got plans next month as well. So that's good. It went well. I got there early and I spent an hour and a half. It wasn't my time, so my time was like for an hour, and I got to spend 30 minutes. And she got me a card, and she got me some sweets and a teddy bear, like a small one.
Ah.
Aw, that's very cute.
She got me do they have Haribos in America? They're like,
Haribo bears?
like,
You mean the bears?
No, the sweets, the candy.
Yeah, like gummy bears, right? They're gummy
Yeah,
bears. The Haribos.
She got me gummy bears as well.
All right, let me ask you a question though. This is extremely important. I'm not joking. Are those the regular Haribo gummy bears, or are those the sugar-free gummy bears?
They're the regular ones.
Okay,
so
good.
The ones that can't. They have the egg.
The sugar-free ones will be your downfall. Like you don't. That's essentially death. Yeah.
All right. And I pre-ordered. What game did I buy today? I bought the Batman Arkham Asylum collection.
Oh yeah, I heard that they made a collection or something. They made those available. Yeah. I might be doing. I might pick up Arkham City because it's the only one I never played. I never played it, and I know some people say it's the best one. And but I might do that one in April because I came up with a theme for April, which is Capril. But anyway, go ahead.
Also pick up Batman Origin. That's a decent game as well. Even though people don't like it, that's still like a decent Batman game.
All right. Okay. So I should no, it's fine. Allison, did you step away? You're muted. I should see if there's anyone else who wants to say anything.
Apparently, my audio is still really bad.
Just Allison, it's fine. Like,
It's fine,
guys,
okay.
is it unlistenable or is it just a little different?
People
Let's
are
be
just fucking
honest.
with you.
It's just
Yeah,
different.
they're getting you to spurg out on this, and I think we're gonna spend more time trying to fix this thing than actually having like the show. So
Have you
Okay.
watched? Have you watched the new season of Cobra Kai yet? Or you don't watch Cobra Kai?
I've never seen Cobra Kai. I never watched it.
Oh, okay, it was good to decent because they're getting ready for the new movie that's happening in July. That's got Jackie Chan in it, and it's got
Yeah, but Jackie Chan's like 100 years old.
yeah, but like, Jackie Chan uses stunt doubles now, so
Yeah, dude. No,
Yeah.
man.
yeah.
He should just retire. Like, I liked him when he was young. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Detective Story, Super Cop, Drunken Master. Those
But
are
what-
great.
But what version of Super Cop though? The English dub one or the non-dub one?
I generally prefer English dubbed when it comes to kung fu movies because English dubbing in kung fu movies is like chef's kiss, just because of the way
Okay.
that they talk, and it's like the same like 6 guys that do the voice of every person. It might be fewer. I
Yeah.
never looked into it, but
Did you see-
I always prefer dub. But that being said, Quentin Tarantino, who released a couple of Hong Kong martial arts movies in the States, like he sort of like released like a Western version, he butchered those movies, and it's like
Yes.
fucking annoying. I'm like, dude, he butchered them. Like Iron Monkey
And that's-
butchered that movie. I'm
That's why I
sorry,
don't
we're
like-
nerding out about kung fu now.
That's why I don't like Quentin Tarantino. So
Yeah.
also,
I
have you
don't
seen
care.
my
I
bo-
think he's really overrated personally, but
Have you seen my Boy in the Bronx as well?
yeah, it was okay. Like, but that's
But they
yeah. Go ahead. They butchered that one too because that's
But-
like a Chinese film.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But it was filmed in China, but they wanted to look like New York, but it doesn't look like New
No,
York.
it's got mountains in the background. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
It
So
does look
that's-
at.
that's
I
what-
know.
That's one of my favorites though. And then
Yeah.
where the one that he loses his memory, Who Am I? As well.
Yeah, no, Who Am I it's got a really great fight scenes, but there's so much like boring shit in the middle. You don't like, you have to wait a long. I just go to the rooftop scene. I just jump to that part because there's so much nothing that happens. I don't know. Anyway, we're getting like really
think
on
I'm
the
the-
sidetrack
I think
here,
I'm-
so
I think I'm the only
got a
black person that
request.
doesn't. I think
Yeah.
I'm the only black person that doesn't like the Rush Hour movies. So
the witch movies, Rush Hour.
yeah, Rush
I
Hour.
like
I don't really like
the Shaolin monks or Shaolin, what is it called? Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Nights. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like those.
That's with Owen Wilson.
Yeah, I like those. Owen Wilson's pretty good as a straight man in that. Okay, Acid, you can talk now. I brought you in. What's up, Acid Kratana? You should be able to
Hello.
speak. Yes, hello.
I was wondering what the title's about and stuff.
Oh, we're just here to wish everyone a happy Valentine's and also talking a little bit about Galentines. Do you know what Galentine's Day is?
It sounds
Stays
stupid.
for
It sounds what?
Peaceful woman.
It sounds stupid.
It's well, you would be right. It it is
What is it?
essentially a Valentine's Day for women who are alone so that they can hang out with other women and force them to also feel alone. It is crabs in a bucket the day. That's what I think. It's supposed
Well,
to
that's
be
what it
about
originally was as
celebrating.
a joke.
It was have you ever seen anybody here ever see the show Parks and Recreation?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just watching
Yes.
it. I'm just
I have
watching.
It's
I'm
an
watching it
episode.
now.
I have not.
There's an
The last-
episode on the show
The last episode. Oh, sorry,
no, it's okay. There's an episode of the show called, I think it's called Galentine's Day, and it's basically the main character, Amy Poehler's character, is basically like, we're gonna have, screw Valentine's Day, it's lame. Oh, that's for couples. Let's do a feminist version where it's the girls and they're all like spending time with each other and it's platonic. And so she creates this thing called
Ew.
Galentine's Day. And it's supposed to be, the whole thing is a joke. The joke is that she's pathetic. That's the joke.
They tried.
But
Definitely.
They
But
tried to
now-
make one.
they're trying to make it a real thing. Like they're trying to make Galentine's Day happen. It's not going to happen.
Like a
So
national holiday?
no,
They've been
but I
trying.
mean, like,
They've been trying to do that for 10 years, and it
look,
hasn't took.
here it hasn't. But here's the thing: like, this is how this works. Okay, so
You?
feminists
Gotta
make
find
some
an equilibrium.
feminists make up a thing. Okay, they make up a word, and some of them stuck and some of them don't. Like for example, manspreading or mansplaining are two of they made this up. Okay, man-interrupting, man-slamming. Then there's like terms that are more academic, like kyriarchy, which maybe you don't know kyriarchy, but when they were first introducing or pushing this intersectional feminism, which is just basically the latest like Pokemon evolution of feminism, they changed the word patriarchy to kyriarchy because they wanted to encompass more oppressive structures. And then they realized that kyriarchy didn't stick. And also, it's just easier to blame men. So they just went back to patriarchy. So they're always making things up. I remember for a period there in the 2010s, I remember a period there were all of these like think pieces on The Guardian and Slate and Mary Sue and Jezebel, etc., that were all like, look at this new trend of men making out with other men, but they're straight, or men, zazzing up their beards with flowers and glitter. Isn't that like a trend that's happening? And men were looking at, like most men were like, what? I don't know what that is. How about a bro job? Or they would say a word like bro job. Give your buddy a bro job. What that is they're no, that's what they would call it. That's not phrasing. That's on purpose. What it is it's an attempt to socially nudge people in a direction by making something appear trendy. It's always astroturfed. And if you don't know it's astroturfed by now, then I don't know what to tell you, but it's always astroturf. It's not real. And they're always using it to sort of like introduce new language into the lexicon so that people normalize it and then they start using it. But they always overplay their hand. So the last thing what we're talking about now is like Galentine's Day. They're trying to normalize it, and so they are going to every year, because this article we looked at was from this year. It was on Cosmopolitan. Probably they're taking lots of USAID money, and they pushed out this Galentine's Day thing. And I bet if you search it, you'll find like references to the TV episode it came from, but you'll probably also find blogs and articles and opinion pieces that are basically pushing it out there. Like, oh yeah, this is a totally normal thing that I do with my girlfriends every year, and you should do it too. And it's social pressure, which tends to be more successful on women than men. And I think that, if you're a woman without a relationship, which is basically an incel for women, is women that don't have a man in their life in a committed relationship, then this would be
the man that they want. The man that they want in a relationship.
Yeah, well, because they want the impossible. And those women will find that Galentine's Day is a good cope. And it often is also used as a weapon against women who are in relationships to guilt them into, essentially like moving away from the men in their own lives. So that's kind of what I think Valentine's Day is. Yeah.
So they're trying to basically say, I'm miserable, so I'm gonna be bitchy, so you can be miserable too.
Yeah, because if you what is pick me though? Like what is it when a woman calls another woman a pick me?
God, you support men, so you're a pick me. That's what they do to me. I'm like, what the frick?
The purpose of it is to make you join their side, because they draw a line in the sand and they say you're on the side of us, not even really feminists, but just like not really women, but feminists, or you're on the side of them, which is people who uphold patriarchy.
But it works all the time though, so it converts women back to being a feminist. So it
does work. Yeah. That's the sad truth of it.
It worked on Natty and a couple of others. So
I get it. I forgot to say what?
What the hell?
What?
That sounds like some interesting gossip there. What worked?
Telling women that they're pick-me's, and it does work half the time. Because a lot of female MRAs turn back to being feminist.
Really?
I've seen it. I've seen
world if that works.
I've seen it time and time again over the years. So.
There you go.
So they basically get pressured into going back to being insufferable.
Basically, because women are like weak-minded
Oh, the
and
cat,
weak-willed.
Glomez, the cat isn't big. She's just close to the camera. She looks like a giant because she just
Pepito, did you
decided
want to
to
say
walk in front of
anything
the
or
camera.
before you leave? Did he just take off? He said I have to go, but I don't know if he wanted to talk. Yeah, he left. That's okay.
Okay.
He's trying to remain anonymous.
All right. So, do we have anybody else?
I just
who
put
wants
him
to
on
talk?
blast. Does anybody else want to say anything? Acid, did you want to
'Cause,
say anything else, or are you just kind of like
Oh,
hanging out in
on
here?
I
the
got some
I can say
things I'd
something
like
else.
to get
Yeah.
done today.
Wait, let Acid speak. Okay, go ahead.
So, on the whole women trying to ruin other women's relationships, I can relate because they'll sit there and they'll try to poison mine. They'll be like, "What if he abuses you?" I'm like, "I've been abused. You think those thoughts haven't fucking gone through my mind? Stop bringing it up every 5 fucking seconds. I'm
What
trying
if you're
not to have a
abused?
poisoned relationship."
What if you're abused by a woman?
They don't care if you're abused
Right.
by a woman.
Well, I know, but like when
I
they
know
say,
because I
"What if you
was.
get it?" Yeah. Well, I'm sure a
I
lot
was
of
too.
men have experience from being abused by a woman.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
have been too. So I
I,
understand
I,
they don't give a fuck.
I was abused. I was abused by my mom. So yeah,
Yep.
Well, it's
and
crazy because
other women. So
it's crazy because I've been seeing the stuff that Allison has posted on like domestic violence, and I think one of the recent ones was what was it? The USAD was like spending money to have like gender bias against
Well,
domestic violence, essentially, where
they
it's like
they
it favors
essentially
women more than men.
they because actually, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay. So essentially, the USAID they had they were spending money abroad to make sure that police treated domestic violence with like a gender. They were gender sensitive, which of course is a code word for arrest the man.
Yeah, they're trying
Yeah.
to export the Duluth model everywhere, and
Mhm.
amongst other things. But essentially, they're spreading feminism around the globe. Like I don't know that
Use the
there's many
exact
places where you can
phrasing.
escape. What?
Ensure police officers effectively respond to GBV-related crimes. GBV is domestic violence, based on a gender-sensitive curriculum for police academies in priority states. Gender-sensitive curriculum. That means that they are going to be taught usually the primary aggressor kind of system, which means that the person who's the victim, regardless of their behavior, is the one who's more vulnerable. So you have to look at size, you have to look at how threatening the person is, and of course, men are always going to be larger, are usually going to be larger and more threatening than women. Not because they're actually acting more threatening, but just because they're bigger. So it's like it's this gender sensitive curriculum means arrest the man, essentially. I've
Yep.
seen it a lot before. Okay, so that was that.
have you
Continue.
guys heard of the Monaghan report?
That sounds familiar.
The Monaghan report kind of predicted everything that's happened to the country over the past 20 to 30 years. So it predicted feminism, it predicted lack of education, and it predicted the crisis that men are going through at the minute. But it's from a black perspective. So what black people gone through the 60s and 70s is what white people are going through now.
Mm-hmm.
Because black people was used as the guinea pigs, as the feminist experiment. Because feminists hijacked the civil rights movement. But nobody wants to have that conversation.
Oh, okay. So Big T TV 82 it says OBS settings, streaming audio, disable webcam mic. I don't think that Brian. This
He's not
is
streaming.
yeah, I don't think he can do that.
Disable what?
Well, he says
OBS
disable mic.
settings, streaming audio, disable webcam mic. Oh, so
Yeah.
I'm the one hosting the thing, not Allison. She's talking,
Yeah.
but I'm the one hosting. So she
Yeah, so-
he's basically saying that your webcam mic is being picked up. I don't see that here, but maybe you can do something. It's your webcam mic is what he's saying. But all I can do is change what you are using. So your default appears to be set, which is the MacBook. Is that what you wanted? But that's not, but that's actually in
Okay, how's
no.
this?
Forget it. That's wrong because that's in Video Ninja, which is muted. So that doesn't matter. So it's just your whatever your mic is in the X space. But again, you can
Okay,
check your
all right.
browser to see what mic you've given permission. But it doesn't matter because I'm the one that controls it, and I don't think it sounds bad anyway. To me, you know. So
People are going to keep fucking with you if you keep responding to this.
I know it's just going to be a never-ending thing. People, you might as well start coming in and say, "Look, I'm here about the couch." So I got another request from I can't pronounce that. Kenta 14247. Kenta, where are you, Kenta? I've given you permissions, but I don't see you. Do you want to talk? Unmute yourself. You may speak. One other listener. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, they're not going to say anything.
I don't see Kenta up here.
Yeah? What?
They're not.
I don't see Kenta up here.
You don't what?
I don't see that person in this space at all.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
them requesting to speak, and I gave them permission, and then
They
I went
probably
back.
left.
They might have
Sometimes
just
the
dropped out.
listener list is like freezes in time and stops being updated. That happens.
God, Elon, get on it.
Yeah.
Get your. What do you think
Okay.
about X?
By the way, the
Alright,
spaces
I
aren't
don't
really
know.
provided by X. It's provided by the backend is entirely provided by Periscope, which is like
Oh.
older solution from Facebook or something like that.
I remember we used to use
No.
Periscope on here. It was on
Periscope.
Twitter. Go back to the Twitter days.
Periscope used to be on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a dinosaur.
Okay, so I did do something. I don't know if that changed anything. I would like to know in future note. So that's, But do we have
Alright,
anybody
gotcha.
else who wishes to speak? If not, let's truck along here.
We can truck along to what? Okay, guys, if you want to join the call and like fight with us, 1v1 IRL faggot, go into the description of this video. There's a link to the Twitter space or the X space where you can join us. So
the last episode of Parks and Recreation has the men's rights line in there, where Leslie Knope says men's rights is nothing.
yeah, is that the last one you saw? Because that's not the last episode. I watched the whole thing with my wife, and I remember
that was the last one I saw.
Yeah, I mean, like, whatever. They did a thing on that in Portlandia like a while back too.
They tried to make Ron Swanson into a joke, but Ron Swanson is the most popular character on the show.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's what happens. Almost always when they put like a token kind of non-woke leftist character in there, even if they try to make them a villain or like a foil, like an idiot or whatever, they become the most likable person because people are like, oh, I relate to that guy. And so
they tried.
It's funny.
Reverse psychology.
It just they don't mean to do it. They're trying to get us to. They're reverse psychologying themselves. They're doing it to themselves because they're like, why do you like Ron Swanson? It's like, why do you like Homelander? Why do you like the Federation from Starship Troopers? They're the bad guys. Like, no, actually, I want to live on that planet and I want to fight the bugs too. So they always do that. I think it was like another movie where they made us. They're always making that mistake, and I think Ron Swanson being the most popular character, even though the guy who plays him is an actual turd. But yeah, that was unintended hilarity.
And Chris Pratt's an actual Christian, and he does like make stuff by himself as well. So
I know Chris Pratt. Yeah. He's.
I'm doing my part.
You have to take the character like Ron Swanson. I haven't seen Park Rec, but I understand that he's supposed to be like this token libertarian. The reason the reason you don't see it or you relate to it, or rather the other side doesn't understand why you relate to it, is that that proposition to them is ridiculous. Like the concept of cutting programs and less money for the government to give to the poor people and give to the blacks and give to the whatever minorities that need to be served
Don't
by the
forget the
government
women.
is like ridiculous. Is like
They
an
always
insane,
blame the
laughable
blacks.
concept.
Yeah.
Is
They
like an
don't.
insane, laughable concept. Only goofy, goofy type like Ron Swanson, as it is portrayed in the TV series, like they're laughable. They're like gestures, right?
White
Mhm.
white women
Nobody can
take
think
what
of the
white women take up most of the welfare. Blacks take up a small portion of it. It's like white women take up most of it. So
That
Yeah, I don't
reminds
agree with the
me of
conception of
Steven.
civil rights being anything like a positive movement in history. It is mostly a psyop from the beginning anyway. And by the time you adopt this sort of civil rights liberal universalist conception, all you're doing is maintaining a multi-ethnic empire. And from that moment on, the empire starts to decline. It has long since lost its spark that got it where it was, and it's just ramshackle. It's just a framework to hold the thing together at that point. So civil rights as itself is not something you can base any kind of country around. It's just a holding pattern for an empire that's inevitably going to decline because of that is the holding pattern that it adopts, because the internal contradictions that are in the end going to dismantle it. But it's going to keep building up on these internal contradictions because it needs to keep the coalition together, the multi-ethnic coalition that has expanded itself the domain over.
how long does
Wait.
Saudi Arabia have?
Wait,
Go
Richard.
ahead.
I got another guest here. I'm sorry, but you guys can talk about that another time. Skyla just joined the call. Hi, Skyla. Welcome and happy Valentine's Day. Can you unmute?
Hi.
Hi. What's up? You wanted to speak? What's on your mind?
Nothing right now.
Oh, okay. But you had your hand up. I thought you wanted to say
No, I
something.
didn't.
Yeah, you did. You put a request in to talk.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm giving you the floor.
but I don't want to at this moment.
Okay. All right. Well, all right then. That's fine. Okay. Well, we're not. I don't know. Like, Alice, how much longer do you want to go? Because we've been at this for about an hour and 45 minutes.
Yes, we've been at this for a fairly large amount of time, and there were some other things I wish to get done today. So, since we don't have anybody else who's interested in talking, as far as I can tell, why don't we say, thank you everybody for coming on and
Yeah.
making this
Anybody?
interesting.
I forgot to check to see if there was any super chows that went through. I didn't get any.
No
chats,
super cows.
Nothing. Okay.
I
Well,
didn't actually do a call out for super chows, by the way.
It's Valentine's Day.
that doesn't
no
usually
money.
stop people from doing it. What was that, Richard?
It's Valentine's Day. People got no money.
Don't buy chocolate on Valentine's Day. Don't. It's junk. It's
Or a
junk.
dozen roses.
Or any of that.
Buy it tomorrow.
Don't
Buy
do
it
it.
tomorrow.
No,
It'll be discounted.
If you want to do something nice for your Valentine, perform a service of some kind. And
buy a super chow for them. We could do a shout out.
Can I tell them
that
to
is
watch
straight
the
up
show?
prostitution. Well, if you want to do that for us, that's cool. I don't know why anybody would watch this show, but go ahead.
What?
I've been watching this show for 12 years, so
yeah. I don't Richard, I don't know why you're wasting your time watching us.
I don't have any I don't have any, like in that Officer and a Gentleman, I have nowhere else to go.
Well, not only that, sometimes I get a good laugh at some of the stupid like videos that you guys do, or at least the argument when Manifestel does something and you guys like just destroy the argument. I find it quite entertaining.
Oh, gosh,
all right.
He's the worst.
All
right. Someone sends in a super chow to call out their friend for Valentine's Day, just being like, "Hello from the other side."
You have a good singing voice, man. You should sing more often. All right, Allison, let's get out of here, I guess. So thanks guys for joining us on the space. This worked out better than I thought, but Allison, go
we
ahead.
didn't completely implode.
No, we
I
didn't.
think I eventually got.
I'm gonna give Skyla one more chance to say something. Oh, did you just
say fort? Did you just say fort, Brian?
You scared her off.
Oh, I scared her off. That's okay. It is what it is.
That's all. Maybe
Couldn't-
she
couldn't
wanted
take
to
the
come in and
heat.
fight it, then she got cold feet.
Yeah,
Who
maybe.
knows? All right. So if you guys enjoy the show, fundraisers open, feedthebadger.com/support. And if you're listening to this and you want to make commentary after the show is over, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Send us a tip and a comment, and we will read it at the most reasonable available opportunity later. Okay, Brian, unless you think there's anybody you want to get on in the last minute.
No. I mean, no one's talking. I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna make some pork chops. So I'm gonna end the show there. Yep. If you guys, thanks for coming on. If you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about like what we pulled together today somehow at the last second. And please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of this Galentine's Twitter X Spaces special, and we'll talk to you guys in the next video. Happy Valentine's, everybody.
Men's right activist.
Yep.
Happy
All right, I'm
Valentine.
gonna end the space. Happy Valentine's. Oh shit, the thing came back on. Hold on a second. This is a stupid tool. All right.
Nothing goes away in this
Yeah.
Men's right activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.